All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Bear Sheath Farm with your host, Levi Kahn. Okay. We'll have a ricochet here. I'm going to be reading Genesis chapters 26 through 30. So, that being said, having a hard time here. Anyway, here we are. All right. Yeah. All right. Let me get this here. Let's see here. Okay, welcome and shalom to Wilfred Witzke and Old Path. I think that's the only two that have typed in besides my wife. Anyway. Sorry about that.
Remember, don't bounce your leg.
I know, don't bounce my leg. Oops. Darn. All right, chapter 26. Let's get this show on the road, ladies and gentlemen. And there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed will I give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. Okay, so the seed was being established, which Yahshua had everything to do with this, along with the father. Verse 4, And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and I will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because that Abraham obeyed my voice, and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. And Isaac dwelt in Gerar, and the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, She is my sister. For he feared to say, She is my wife, lest, said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. So he committed the same sin of doubting that his father Abraham did. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out at a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah, his wife. I always get a kick out of the King James when I was sporting with her. Oh, that's just too good. Anyway, and Abimelech called Isaac and said, Behold, of a surety, she is thy wife. And how saidst thou, She is my sister? And Isaac said unto him, Because I said, Lest I die for her. And Abimelech said, What is this thou hast done unto us? One of the people might lightly have lain with thy wife, and thou shouldest have brought guiltiness upon us. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, He that toucheth this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Then Isaac sowed in that land, and received in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. So it continued to prosper. And the man waxed great, and went forward, and grew until he became very great. For he had possession of flocks, and possession of herds, and great store of servants. And the Philistines envied him, for all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham had stopped them, and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, Go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. And Isaac departed thence, and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar, and dwelt there. And Isaac digged again the wells of water which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham, and he called their names after the names by which his father had called them. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley and found there a well of springing water. And the herdmen of Gerar did strive with Isaac's herdmen, saying, the water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. And they digged another well and strove for that also. And he called the name of it Sitnah. And he removed from thence and digged another well. And for that they strove not, and he called the name of it Rehoboth. And he said, for now the Lord hath made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. And he went up from thence to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared unto him the same night, and said, I am the God of Abraham thy father, fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he builded an altar there, and called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servants digged a well. And Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Jeusus, one of his friends, and Phicol, the chief captain of his army. And Isaac said unto them, wherefore come ye to me, seeing ye hate me, and have sent me away from you? And they said, we saw certainly that the Lord was with thee, and we said, let there be now an oath betwixt us, even betwixt us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee, that thou wilt do us no hurt, as we have not touched thee, and as we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have sent thee away in peace. Thou art now the blessed of the Lord. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink. And they rose up betimes in the morning, and sware one to another. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. And it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came, and told him concerning the well which they had digged, and said unto him, we have found water. And he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba unto this day. And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Bashemath the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of mine unto Isaac and to Rebekah. All 35 verses of chapter 26. Anyway, can't some people's kids bring other people in that are a real pain to their parents, huh? It's funny because my wife, she got to meet my adopted parents who raised me. I was happy to do that. I know there's other women I've had in the past, and I just flat out refused to take them to my parents. I knew better. But that being said, folks, let's continue on. Chapter 27, another kind of a long chapter. And it came to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son and said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, here am I. And he said, behold now, I am old. I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spoke to Esau his son, and Esau went out to the field to hunt for venison, and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat and bless thee before the Lord, before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse, my son, only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. Before I continue on to verse 14, folks, people are not thinking very straight sometimes. And when Rebecca says put the curse on her, no, just put it on me, that's not very smart. It's something that I would never do. Anyway, I just think you should keep that in mind. Let people take responsibility for their own actions. And Jacob, of course, screwed up in a way that he shouldn't have enabled his mother and gone for that, because God would have made a way. He had already taken Esau's birthright anyway, but God's will not be thwarted. All right. Verse 14, and he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father and said, My father. And he said, Here am I. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, How is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, Because the Lord thy God brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him, and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy as his brother Esau's hands, so he blessed him. Before I continue on, because we're halfway through this chapter, a whole thing of deceit is going on. And everybody's involved here, even Isaac. Yeah, he was blind in that. But he could, I suppose I did have a woman in my life 33 years ago, I think it was, and she had identical twins. It took me over 2 weeks to figure out who was who. I did. I got it done. I guess when she first bore him, she knew right away the difference. And I'm guessing some of that was going on with Yitzhak, where he knew, but yet he was so out of it and so old and blind, he wasn't as with it as he used to be. But here's the thing, too, about deceiving with both Rebecca and Jacob, Rivka and Yaakov, simply in Hebrew. Favorites were being played all over the place. And as we continue on throughout the days, you'll see how much Yaakov, as in Jacob, screwed up too, playing favorites all over the place. And it caused a lot of grief, a lot of anger, a lot of hard feelings, a lot of animosity. It's just, you can learn. These people were, these were godly men and women, no doubt about it. However, they were sinners and they screwed up. And we can learn from their mistakes. Continuing on to verse 24. And he said, Art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did not eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him. And he smelt the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field, which the Lord hath blessed. Therefore God give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. That should be grain and wine, by the way. Maize or corn really wasn't being grown in that area of the world at that time, but just so you know. The scholars did the best that they could and were allowed. They authorized version scholars. Verse 29, Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. Before I continue on to verse 30, that's those of us who are truly of Yah, the Father, through his son, Yahshua, the Mashiach, ladies and gentlemen. You want to curse us and mock us and make a life hard on us, they will be cursed in the end. Some get it right away. Some have to wait a while, and it comes. Some may not get it until they die. Just keep that in mind. Continue to endure to the end, ladies and gentlemen. Verse 30, and it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing of Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also had made savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. Had a moth there. Verse 33, and Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? Okay, that's how serious an oath really was and still is. Okay? You don't just go back on that kind of stuff. And if you do, you make it clear with conditions like Abraham did with his house manager, Eliezer. Okay, if this doesn't happen, then you're free from your oath. If not, you're bound to it. All right, verse 37. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for his servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept, and will eventually, how many months down the road, get down there, to where even though Esau cried and everything, and tried to get his oath, tried to get his blessing back and his birthright, God didn't go for it. Elohim hated him for it. So, verse 39, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau is touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, and arise, flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran, and tarry with him a few days, until thy brother's fury turn away, until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done to him. Then I will send and fetch thee from thence. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? Now, verse 45 here, I said that, I think, was it last night or something, maybe the night before. Rivka did have love for both of her sons, even though she loved Yaakov a lot more. All the chaos and it's just the unnecessary grief that was caused in all of this. All right, verse 46. And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these, which are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do me? All right, all 46 verses of chapter 27. Let me check the side chat here. Okay, nothing real out of the ordinary. Just kind of shooting the breeze, I guess. Anyway, okay. All right, chapter 28. Let's get this moving. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Paddan Aram of the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. And God Almighty bless thee, and make thee fruitful, and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people. And give thee the blessing of Abraham to thee, and to thy seed with thee, that thou mayest inherit the land wherein thou art a stranger, which God gave unto Abraham. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Paddan Aram unto Laban, son of Bethuel the Syrian. I hate that word. It's not real accurate. The Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, of Jacob's and Esau's mother. Let's get 28 verse 5. Give me a second here. There's a more accurate way, and I've read it a few times already in whatever verse about Laban the Assyrian. Now, the word that really should be used, I used to have a resurrected Geneva Bible. I think the King James is probably a little better overall. Don't get me wrong, but it's the Aramean. It should read Aramean. That'd be a little more accurate than Syrian. It can work either way, but just so people know that. Again, 1604 to 1611, the authorized version scholars did the best they could with what they knew and what they were allowed by King James Stuart. Anyway, verse 6, when Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Paddan Aram to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother, and was gone to Paddan Aram. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau unto Ishmael, and took unto the wives which he had Maalat, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebajoth, to be his wife.
Ice water.
Oh, you're getting ice water? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Verse 10, and Jacob went from Beersheba and went toward Haran, and he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night. Can you get me some coffee then too, please?
I was going to get you some ice water, but okay.
Yeah.
Where's that other blue cup?
Well, you can get me ice water too. That's fine, but I want coffee as well. Verse 11, and he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night, because the sun was set. And he took of the stones of that place and put them for his pillows, and lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land, for I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. And Jacob awaked out of his sleep, and he said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. Okay. Again, the covenant was being established through our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, ladies and gentlemen. So it perpetuated on, and it's still true to this day, and it's those of us who are truly in Yahshua to get to Yud Hey Bob Hey, blessed be his name.
Let them know why the camera's covered.
Well, they know why. They could hear us no problem, Deb. I'll put it up as soon as you're out of the way. Of course, we're talking about portals here, evidently. But anyway, let's... Verse 17, and he was afraid and said, How dreadful is this place? This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had put for his pillows and set it up for a pillar, and poured oil upon the top of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz at the first. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if God will be with me, and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house, and of all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the tenth unto thee. And that's all 22 verses of Genesis chapter 28. Oh, man. Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm taking a break to get a little cold water in me. It is smoking hot and humid, folks. I've had to keep my my big dogs outside and make sure their water bowls were good. I have a powerful fan running in here. We don't have
one more, and we're praying for one.
We haven't. We don't have air conditioning here, and but we have a fan running. And still, like Goku, my largest one of the three, and he's a pup. He's not even 10 months, and he's just panting there in his kennel. I'd like to let him out, but when I'm not looking, he likes to chew on things, and Deb gets a little upset with that. Ugh. I'll wait until Deb goes to sleep, then I'll let you out, buddy.
It's where he chews. He's going to destroy that.
No, he won't. He's a good guy. He's a good boy.
Right. Good guy that's destroying where we have our burning fire. Yeah.
Oh, well, he won't get all that, I don't think.
Yeah, he's been working on it.
I know. I should be paying more attention, but I kind of give him a lot of slack. But I'll continue on to verse 29, or chapter 29 here.
Bear with me, folks. I'm almost out of here.
Yeah, my wife's going slow, but she'll get her done. Chapter 29. Then Jacob went on his journey and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks, and a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in its place. And Jacob said unto them, my brethren, whence be ye? And they said, of Haran are we. And he said unto them, know ye Laban the son of Nahor? And they said, we know him. And he said unto them, is he well? And they said, he is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, lo, thank you. And he said, lo, it is yet high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep, and go and feed them. And they said, we cannot until all the flocks be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth when we water the sheep. While he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel the daughter of Laban his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled a stone from the well's mouth, and watered the flock of Laban his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel, and lifted up his voice, and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother, and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. Before I continue on to verse 13, I get nervous about talking about this. I don't really like to talk about the age difference with them. It was a different culture back then, and that. So that being said, folks, we'll just leave it at that. Yeah. Verse 13. And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob his sister's son, that he ran to meet him, and embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. And Laban said unto Jacob, Because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? And Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Evidently, they were twin sisters. Yeah, I know. We already know that. Rigging that up with a fan, Haas, and welcome to Haas, by the way. I might end up doing that with this fan, so we'll see how well it works or not. Anyway, verse 17. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. And Laban said, It is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had to her. And Jacob said unto Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for an handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, What is this thou hast done unto me? Did not I serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? I'm trying to picture that. Being drunk and then having her covered like that, and you had no clue, and you wake up to that. That's got to be. I can't help but laugh when I read this kind of stuff. I believe it on a literal level. Don't get me wrong. It's just. Anyway, let's continue on to verse 26, shall we? And Laban said, It must not be so done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week. And he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, Surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Because the Lord hath heard I was hated, he hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore was his name called Levi. And she conceived again and bare a son, and she said, Now will I praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah, and left bearing. And that's all 35 verses of chapter 29. Yeah, the way women competed, and that was their status. The more babies you have, the better. The higher status and prestige you had as an Hebraic woman. And they weren't the only culture like that, by the way, but that's the one I concentrate on the most. And you have to love that polygyny. Yep. I love it. Anyway, 43 verses coming up here, and then we're done with the reading for tonight. And as you can see, my wife loves it too. Yeah, okay, let's go to Genesis 30 and keep this moving. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, Give me children, or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, Am I in God's stead, who hath withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? And she said, Behold, my maid Bilhah Go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her. And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife. And Jacob went in unto her. And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob's son. And Rachel said, God hath judged me, and hath also heard my voice, and hath given me a son. Therefore called she his name Dan. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again, and bare Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, with great wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and I prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. Some say Naphtali, but anyway. When Leah saw that she had left bearing, she took Zilpah her maid, and gave her Jacob to wife. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son. And Leah said, a troop cometh. And she called his name Gad. Before going to verse 12, there was some paganism going on here too. These women were not exempt from that at all. Gad is in God, and there was something going on there. And of course, later, as we keep reading it over the days, where Rachel is sitting on Laban's gods, his wooden or false gods, and that a lot of that crap was still going on, just like today. Anyway, verse 12. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son. And Leah said, happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher. And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest, and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. And she said unto her, is it a small matter that thou hast taken my husband? And wouldest thou take away my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel said, therefore, he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. And Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him, and said, thou must come in unto me, for surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her that night. And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare Jacob the fifth son. And Leah said, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband. And she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again, and bare Jacob the sixth son. And Leah said, God hath endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun. And afterwards she bare a daughter, and called her name Dinah. And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her, and opened her womb. And she conceived, and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, and said, the Lord shall add to me another son. And it came to pass, when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Jacob said unto Laban, send me away, that I may go unto mine own place, into my country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for thou knowest my service which I have done thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. And he said, appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, thou knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me. For it was little which thou hadst before I came, and it is now increased unto a multitude. And the Lord hath blessed thee since my coming. And now when shall I provide for mine own house also? And he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep thy flock. I will pasture all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and of such shall be my hire. So shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come for my hire before thy face, everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the sheep, and shall be counted stolen with me. And Laban said, behold, I would it might be according to thy word. And he removed that day the he-goats that were ring-streaked and spotted, and also the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown sheep among the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his sons. And he set 3 days journey betwixt. And he set, excuse me, and he set 3 days journey betwixt himself and Jacob. And Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar and of hazel and chestnut tree, and pilled white streaks in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had pulled before the flocks in the gutters and the watering troughs, when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle ring-straked, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, to set the faces of the flocks toward the ring-straked, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. He put his own flocks by themselves, and put them not unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whosoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in, so the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and men, and maidservants, and menservants, and camels, and asses. All 43 verses of Genesis chapter 30. Oof. And that ends pretty much the 5 chapters of reading this time. Okay. Just checking the chat. All right. Yeah.
I put a link in the chat.
Yeah, I know you did it for some YouTube channel or something on info about what's going on today, or I don't know. I have a lot of my own or information that I research. I read articles and I look at documentaries or certain
Crazy man.
who and YouTube channels and stuff, and then she bombards me with all these other.
Crazy man from Congress.
Well, there's a lot. Almost everybody's crazy in the congressional house. I mean, what else is new? But I've been around politicians in my day, and
A major announcement they made for an emergency.
yeah, I want to talk about a possible emergency. The heat index, it hasn't even begun, they say. So that being said, they're comparing this year to the El Nino to what happened back in 1877. I'm going to look up some things on that when they showed the things, scientifically with meteorologists and stuff and the experts looking at that. It can potentially maybe be worse. Well, and they lost around 50 million people back then, evidently. So I don't know. But you need to do what you need to do. Here's things going on. I mean, there's gamma rays going on too. And I'll explain that on an amateur level because I'm not a scientist. Gamma rays in and of itself are fine. That's always been going on. Every few hundred years, there are certain areas of the earth where gamma rays come up somehow because of the sun buildup into the ground, the sun rays. And every few hundred years, certain areas of the earth are kind of blasting it out, so to speak, higher radiation levels than that. And it has to. That's a good thing in the end. Every 3,000 to 3,500 years, evidently, the earth, after so much buildup, the whole earth goes, and it goes for anywhere, they say, from 5 to 15 years or something like that. And that's quite a gap. Now, that being said, and it's been proven when we were in Florida, and we didn't even bring the subject up, but my wife's, one of her aunties was talking about it when they had their place tested, radiation levels all over their land. radiation level was up way more than normal. Didn't matter. And her husband, or Deb's auntie and uncle, own a good amount of acreage, and it's not man messing with it. Okay, man may be messing with it, but they don't. We really don't have to. We don't have to. Okay. But that makes it even harder. Yeah, I thought I started feeling something in 2021 because I'm pretty good with 100-degree weather normally. Always have been. I'm like, man, this feels different. Maybe it's my age. At the time back in 2021, I was 52 by then. And I thought, we spent a little bit of time in Alabama, and I spent a lot of time in a creek to wash off and stuff. And then a year or two later, when we were in the Panama City, Florida area, another guy, that Danny King, explained the gamma rays going on. So it made sense to me, and again, getting the validation from Deb's auntie talking about it with radiation levels. I'm like, because she had no clue what she was telling us. I mean, she knew. But she had no clue as far as what I'm relaying to you now. And so this has been going on for evidently 5 years already. I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. So be careful out there, right? Keep a lot of water with you. Don't overdo it outside. I did a bunch of work today. We had a good day today. I did a bunch of tree snipping, little trees that are barely growing. I used my manual snippers and got it around at the other side of the house there, and got a whole bunch out of there. I had cleared out a big area because I don't want it too near the house, and because I don't want it growing in here and coming through my windows. But I made sure to take breaks and get water and that. So not just coffee, but actual cold, fresh water. And that being said, folks, now how bad it's going to be for this year, we're going to have to find out. Okay. And I'll try to do some research on 1877. But there's a lot of earthquakes going on too. I think on Haas there just mentioned about 10,000 people missing in Venezuela. So, and it's super hot. I mean, when you're in a city, and I felt it when I was in Panama City even, I can only imagine what those poor New Yorkers are going through with Zoran the Moron, Mom Donnie. I mean, they're having to, keep your air conditioners only to where it's down to 78 degrees. I think, what's her name in the garden, the Apple area there, where what's her name is going to be married, they're going to have it way down lower than that. I'll bet money on that. Oh man, they voted him in. What can you say? I mean, you made your bed, lie in it in a way, but there are a lot of innocent people there that didn't, and they didn't ask for that nonsense. And the government's going to supposedly take care of them with water and sprinklers and stuff. And yet, if the train sub-train stations break down and stuff, how do you ever get there? It's been a lot of years since I've been through New York, but it's a large city. I mean, you don't just walk from one place to another that easily. It doesn't work that way. So, it's coming. I mean, we're barely into July, and it could be another good 2 months or more, and be really brutal. Like I said, I'm keeping my eye on my chickens. I make sure their water's up. I don't just clean and God, Deb, shut up. I don't just clean and fill their water containers once a day like normal anymore. I do twice, sometimes 3 times a day because I don't want my chickens dropping on me. I want my eggs. You know, so, but anyway, I'm trying to think of anything. I mean, it's just the news blends. It was kind of blending into me today, you know. Hold on, folks. Okay. I need to see what this video is about, folks. Hold on. She wants me to play it. She won't leave me alone until I do, evidently. Hold on. What is this nonsense? Well, this is over 10 minutes. Okay. All right. What I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and share this, and we'll play this video. All right. Let's do this.
Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Greer. I'm the founder of the Global Disclosure Project. My fellow Americans and all the citizens of the Earth, it has been confirmed that extraterrestrial civilizations of great technological advancement have been visiting the Earth for some time. While their presence likely dates from ancient times, the modern era since World War II has seen a large increase in sightings and interactions with these advanced life forms and their spacecraft. It must be emphasized that they pose no threat to humanity or the Earth, but instead are quite concerned about our own unchecked war-making capabilities and violence, combined with our early attempts at the exploration of space. Since the dawn of the nuclear era, these extraterrestrial civilizations have made concerted efforts to do reconnaissance at all known space and nuclear facilities. In some cases, these facilities have been penetrated by extraterrestrial craft and our nuclear missiles rendered inoperable. Such incursions are designed to warn us not to use these world-destroying nuclear weapons and are not acts of hostility in any way. They also appear concerned with the rapid decay of our biosphere and environment and the extinction of many species on Earth. Since World War II, there have been extremely secretive and mostly illegal programs studying the energy, communication, and propulsion systems of these ET civilizations. They are currently in the process of connecting these unconstitutional and illegal operations and ensuring their proper oversight. It is time for us to disclose these momentous scientific findings to you. These technologies have the potential, if used only for peaceful purposes, to give us a new and sustainable civilization on Earth, free of poverty and pollution, and with abundant free energy within a generation. These technologies will greatly advance the world economy and create boundless growth and opportunities previously undreamed of. However, if used for destructive and violent purposes, these same technologies could end our civilization. The time has arrived for the truth to be known. We are not alone in the universe. It is time for humanity to become a mature, peaceful civilization and take its place in the cosmos with other advanced peoples from other star systems and planets. We must bring forth these advanced energy and propulsion technologies so that the world's environment and people benefit. We must all agree to never allow these new technologies to be used as weapons of war. And we must commit amongst ourselves that if any nation or group attempts to use these technologies for violent or destructive purposes, every nation and people on earth will rise up to immediately stop it. We face a choice. If we do nothing, our environment and civilization will degrade and we may face extinction. If we use these new technologies and knowledge and science for war and destruction, we will also surely perish. But if we establish a world of peace and security, humanity can now advance as a civilization that is sustainable, just, and worthy of exploring the universe. This is the singular and greatest challenge of our time, to establish world peace and to create a new sustainable civilization on Earth. Once we have achieved this foundation of peace, prosperity, and justice, we have learned that these other worlds will welcome us into the cosmos with open arms and hearts. So, my fellow Americans and citizens of the Earth, let us work together to achieve this destiny for humanity, an enlightened, peaceful world that joins her place among the other peoples of the cosmos. For this is the only possible good future for humanity. It is time for us to unite as a people and create that good future now. In furtherance of this, I am asking that other nations around the world, including China, Russia, United Kingdom, the European Union, Australia, India, and the nations of South America and other regions, come forward with their covert files to the extent they can acquire them and release them as soon as possible. We need people to come forward who have dispositive proof and evidence, not lights in the skies or vague data, but the actual proof of the extraterrestrial spacecraft, the bodies of extraterrestrial peoples that have been captured, some living, some deceased, as well as the man-made craft that we have been making since the late 1950s that have been used in illegal operations. We are asking that people in good conscience, patriotic in their own countries, but concerned about the future of the entire world and humanity, defect from these illegal programs and hand over to the Disclosure Project through any means you see fit and in full confidentiality the most extensive files possible. At this point in time, the United States government, which began the path of releasing information, has been hijacked in its disclosure efforts by operatives from the same illegal group that has kept the subject secret for 80 years. For this reason, it is time for other nations of the world to step up to the plate and do their fair share in moving forward disclosure. And this includes adversaries of the United States who must forget their normal geopolitical concerns and look at the world as a whole, as humanity as one, and moreover, as the Earth, one amongst many planets in the universe. This must be done soon, because the timeline for this occurring is approaching the end. The worst case scenario is that there would need to be an intervention for those who have been visiting us and patiently waiting. Unfortunately, covert weapon systems, directional energy weapon systems, illegal electromagnetic pulse weapon systems have continued to target and down extraterrestrial vehicles. There is a universal right to self-defense, and it is time for other nations to come together and prove to the world we're not alone and advocate for a peaceful approach to these civilizations and the cessation of all targeting of extraterrestrial spacecraft and peoples here around the Earth or in space. For this reason, and because the United States has stalled in its efforts, we need to have other countries come forward and with courage, regardless of the geopolitical consequences, release their files, including hard evidence. Moreover, if there are any groups who have been working as contractors under non-official cover on these programs who have access to the materiel, extraterrestrial bodies, or physical spacecraft, please contact us, and we have teams that can secure these and then release them through our blockchain system to the world. Other people who may have video files, photographic files, and documents that you would wish to hand off to us can be contacting us at drstephengreer.com, and in full confidence, we will receive them through any intermediary you choose, and we will also release those on our blockchain system so that it cannot be removed by corrupt interests. This is a call to action by not just now the United States government, but by people of goodwill all over the world, and that the peoples in countries such as China and Russia and 40 other countries that have called for the banning of all weapons in space need to understand that that will never happen until the entire world understands that we're not alone in space, that we share space with other civilizations, that some of these civilizations have been involved with the Earth before the beginning of modern human civilization. And for this reason, we must take a larger view, a universal view of life on Earth, life in the universe, and that peace on Earth is dependent on also peace in space. So for this reason, we are making a call to action today as we approach the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States. As I said, a few miles from the home of Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Declaration of Independence. This is a new declaration that we should, all of us, come together and establish a world of freedom, of truth, and to bring forth the science and the technologies that will give us a civilization that will remain and progress for hundreds of thousands of years on Earth, during which time we humans will become interstellar people. God bless all of you, and I look forward to hearing from those of you who can move this important mission forward. Thank you.
Okay. Well, what can you say? I mean, what is there to say? Yeah, I'd have to agree with that, Haas. Soft porn techniques, I mean, wow. I mean, look, I'm convinced, and I know they laugh at this, that they're demons, and I think a lot of them are. There is a chance, too, that you may very well be you may be entertaining an angel. It's in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2. I'll read it here. Remember them that are in bonds, verse 2. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. I mean, so what's there to say? So it's a possibility in this world peace thing, and it's all over. We'll be, provided I don't get knocked off YouTube. I'm getting pretty bold with some of the stuff I do. There's certain things I won't put up here. Like, for example, I've directed people, go read the World Economic Forum agenda. It's right up there. But I will not put the WEF stuff right up here for you to see. Because people have done it, and they've been shut down very quickly. And I'm already sticking my neck out enough. I mean, I don't care. But at the same time, I want to keep YouTube going. So I have to do a balance. Let me get this. There we go. Okay. I'll share that. I'll go ahead and put the link in after I shut down. Wife kept hollering at me to play something. Then, when I'm reading and talking, I'm not always looking at the chat. So I muted it, and she told me to go into the link. So I had to open up another window because I couldn't just do it on this one, or else I'll knock myself off here. You need to be prayed up. Please forgive my tongue. Missing teeth, and I just It happens to me sometimes, even when I'm reading. But I don't know what to tell people anymore other than just read your Bibles. Ask, pray before you open up that Bible or that book of yours, and ask God to guide you. Let the Spirit guide you, and have you understand what you're ready to understand. Okay, get closer to Him, be more like Him in His image. And then after you're done reading it, thank Him for giving you the awesome privilege and obligated duty and responsibility to get to know Him, to get to know His Word, His truth. And I look into a lot of other sources that back up the Bible and what's going on. I wasn't really prepared for this. I know who that guy is. I don't know a lot about him. I think he is sincere. I think he's being honest, but he's also, but he's deceived. There are people that believe that their pedo religion is the true way to go. And they're truly wrong. There's other Christian denominations, as they call them, or whatever, and they, whether it's Jehovah's Witnesses, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and so on, they really believe it's the way. And they believe wrong. So, and that's where I think this guy is at. He's well educated. He's very intelligent. Well, Trump is with a lot of things now. He's not the same president. He's not the same man that he was during his first term. I've said that many times, and he is who he is. I'm still trying to figure out what the heck a socialist Democrat is. I can't seem to figure that one out. And if I could see communal living, and having MAGs, mutual assistance groups, or another name would be militia, call it what you will, and people working together, evenly yoked, and as a team in unison. And I mean evenly yoked, spiritually, obviously, and that's just granted, along with doing things that they're going to, and each person has their own task. I've checked out, because I think we're going to really need one another, folks. I had a little taste of that many years ago. I visited, I never became one, but I visited the Hutterites up in my home state, Minnesota. As far as America, South Dakota has the most Hutterite colonies. Back then I was a Sunday goer, and a pagan holiday celebrator, Lent, Easter, Christmas, trunk or treats, Halloween. I didn't know any better. I mean, I knew intellectually, but I wasn't spiritually there yet. I think I was in salvation. And later down the road, Yah gave me, he opened my eyes more as I kept seeking. But I learned a lot from him. And, when you have a group like that together working, and they don't put up with a lot from somebody, an adult, I should say, if he or she is making being contentious. Another group I visited in New York State, I had to go through New York City. I think that was the last time I went through there, when I went there, and then I had to, I left after a month. And they're similar, but they're different. In fact, some of the Bruderhof, they know a lot of the Hutterites. I think the Bruderhof, they call themselves something technically different now. I know, well, they did, but they, just look at them as the Bruderhof, and they're okay with that. Put it this way, when I visited Starland Hutterite colony outside of Gibbon, Minnesota, a few miles out of there. And oh man, that was 30 years ago now. And so the head preacher, he's got to be gone by now. He was like 80 or so by then. Maybe he was 79. But point is, and as I talked to him through the years, he sounded weaker as he got to be 82 and whatever. So he can't be with us now. Point, before I digress, they had their people where they belong. Put it this way. And again, I ate pork back in those days too. They had me on different tasks. I was pretty talented. I could do a lot of different tasks. They'd have me in the factory area, using that one machine to knock out metal holes and stuff, and for a few days, and then they put me with the pork, with the pigs to get them ready for slaughter at a number of hog barns. And the guy who's in charge and did the hog barns, excellent, did a great job. But you don't put him as the treasurer for the entire property. And you could, not a good idea. And they knew, because they knew each other's abilities and talents. The Hutterites said that they were born in that and raised, they knew each other and where they were at. And that's the way it should be. So, and that's probably what we need to try to do some of ourselves. It could be a lot more difficult. Those of us who didn't grow up that way. But anything's possible with Elohim, I think. And we'd be there for one. And also, too, they're pacifists. I am not. I am not. I am willing to fight and defend. I don't want it coming to me. I've said that too before. You all know this. But I will. If you bring it to me, okay. Let's rock. But, keep to yourselves and give the word when the Spirit leads you to. And at the time, Starland, I don't think they're doing any of this now, but at the time they were pretty good with, doing outreach, preaching the word of God to the best that they knew how. Like-minded, old path, you got it. So, anyway, I don't really have a lot. My wife, I didn't prep for this at all, but there are some things that are going to be going on, and I think people's hearts will faint. Okay, they'll be faint-hearted. I mean, that's just my guess anyway, and who knows what's going to happen. I think there will be some people who just break down totally, and you'll find them in their homes, like curled up like a baby, crying and talking like a baby. You know how people can mentally lose it because they don't have God in their lives, and they've never been taught and brought up to fend for themselves. I believe I'm among the last generation that really was raised somewhat, at least independently, because I'm Generation X. The ones before us, baby boomers and that. And even then, they were doing some things, after the Great Depression and World War II. And we came together as a nation, historically and that. But the government started getting involved, and people started to slowly lose the skills and the know-how stuff and that. So, and it's not like the baby boomers, nor did Generation X mean for this to happen. But how many people, even at my old age, which, how many people can raise their own livestock and know what they're doing? And I don't have any right now, but also our own fowl and in our own garden crops, really. I mean, we're doing pretty good this year so far. Hopefully we bring a lot of stuff in for harvest this year at the end here. Because I'm not looking to the government for anything. I kind of take Reagan's approach, the late Ronald Wilson Reagan. When the government comes in and says, hey, we're the government and we're here to help, you better step back. Because those people don't care about us. They want us under their control, their rule. They don't look at us as being our public servants. They want to be our masters. And they're succeeding at it, But I'm kind of battling on. I'm kind of trying to pick up here because I wasn't ready for this. But a lot of you know this. My followers. You're pretty informed too. So that being said, I really don't have a lot more to say. Just be careful of the heat. Okay, be aware of it and deal with it accordingly. Have water with you at all times. Don't overdo it out there. I'll be getting up tomorrow or today now technically. And doing a bunch of work and stuff. And since I'm self-employed, I don't have to go by a set schedule where I work so many hours and then take a 15-minute break. I do a whole bunch and I come in and I break. I make sure water's in me and that. And those of you who have regular jobs, hopefully your job is, hopefully your employers and supervisors and that are taking the precautions. I've seen it. I've been on jobs. I've paid my taxes, and on real hot, humid days and heat indexes, they usually try to make sure, from my personal experience, that you have access to water and that. So, folks, I'm glad you were here with me through the reading. We're 60% of the way through Genesis now. And thanks for sticking with me, and continue to. And we'll get through this. God willing, we will get through this. It'll be a blessing. So peace. Shalom. The Levite man is out of here.